That was terrible. Okay, start again. And remember, when you're jumping into it, you do have 2 bars to regain your mindset to get into this and to get into the mood. But if you're just jumping from one to the next without any accompaniment, always make sure that you can just take a split second. Think of the mood of the piece. Think of the dynamic that you want to have when you play, and think of how you want this to sound. In other words, what just came out of your horn is not what you want it to sound like, right? No. No, absolutely not. All right. Okay.
As far as I've gotten.
What? You have to play this on Monday? You have to do the ending. Let me hear what you can do with the ending. More volume on that low note and nice and steady. Okay, I know you haven't worked the ending, but you need to do that, of course.
Yes.
What's the thing that everybody remembers?
The ending.
The ending. So the fact that you saved it for the bitter end and absolutely last is a horrible way to learn a piece, because you only have a few days to get that, and you've been working on like the first part and everything, and the first part sounds great. Okay, so let's now that you've played the whole thing, let's go to the beginning of this. Nice excitement at the beginning. Continue to watch your tonguing. Da-ga-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dum. Da-ga-da-dee-da, da-ga-da-dee-da, da-ga-da-dee-dum. And when you have these little accents, make sure that you're accenting the note that has the accent on it. Da-ga-da-dee-da, da-ga-da-dee-da, da-ga-da-dee-dum. And you can kind of back off of the notes that don't have the accent, because sometimes you're accenting the next note. So, dee-dum instead of dee-dum, dee-da-dee-da-dee-dum. But you want to make sure that you're actually playing what is on the page. When you're going into C, first of all, you know, I was trying to bring you down decrescendo, decrescendo. You want to decrescendo into C. And then C is marked piano. And you are good enough to be able to play that piano. How did you play that? Well, mezzo forte forte. That was not piano. So, mark something at C, and for all of these bars as well. All of this needs to be piano. Interesting and piano. You want absolutely to have that same character. Sorry. Oh yeah, just like put it like that, because that's like this you'll see, but this you'll really see. And then here, these three lines, you know, you can shape them within the realms of, or sorry, up until D, you can shape them within the realms of piano. It should be absolutely perfect with articulation, those accents and everything, but piano. So just keep it quiet, because if your entire piece is loud, then there's nothing spectacular about it. Loud is only spectacular if you have spectacular soft. You know, it's like if someone said to you, hey, would you like to eat a diet of chocolate cookies? You might at first go, yeah, I'd love to eat a diet of chocolate cookies, but you would get really, really tired of chocolate really fast, chocolate cookies. And you would want to have something else. And so if you're always playing loud, you have to have something that's soft. And yeah, contrast is what music is about. Okay, going on. Watch your intonation. This note here, the F sharp, sounded funky. And then, again, I put down more exaggeration on softer dynamics. Every time you play piano, and a section that's supposed to be piano, it's way too loud, which is going to make your performance boring. Do not make your performance boring. If your audience falls asleep, it's all your fault. Has nothing to do with the fact that they're tired. It just means that you, personally, are boring. So, do not let them fall asleep. Okay, movement 2, starting with the andante cantabile. Watch your time. Your breathing is much better. Where you're breathing makes more sense. That's great. But you're rushing through this thing. And your time is not steady. It will be helpful when you're playing with the accompanist, because Elaine is fabulous and she'll keep you honest. But you yourself have got to have an internal clock that's like, you know, whatever this is. You need to make sure that you're not rushing through this movement. It's piano, it's espressivo. It is not fast. Not just begin the beginning at G. Already you're second measure, you're jumping in on your second measure too early. Da, subdivide. Da, dee, da, dee, da, dee, da, da, dee, da, da, dum. Da, da, dee, da, dum. Anytime you have a longer note, you're going to want to compress it. Why? Because you're 18.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we got this. I can do this. But I mean, there's a reason that 18-year-olds like fast cars, and you know, you just move faster, and that's fine. That's the way you're created. That's the way you are. But when you're playing Andante Cantabile, you have to give the music a chance to breathe. So, do, dee, da, dee. Make sure that the first beat of measure, the second measure that you play in, is on time. Because what you're doing is da, dee, da, dee. And it makes you feel like a pirate with a peg leg. Yeah. And, you know, it's just not beautiful then. It doesn't give the music a chance to breathe. It doesn't give the audience a chance to enjoy what you're creating if you're out of time. Okay? And I noticed that this was over and over. I wrote, don't rush, don't rush, don't rush, don't rush. Watch time, especially on these longer notes. Play with the metronome. I mean, it's like all through this whole section, you know, you're having a tendency to compress your time, especially on any dotted quarter note. It's just, you're in a hurry to move on. Don't be in a hurry to move on. Also, when you came up to the fermata that we wrote in at 1,
Yeah.
you totally rushed into that. You've got a rallentando that we marked 2 bars before 1. So, dee da dee da 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 dee da da. Stop. Take a breath. Ba da dee da da dee. It's the recapitulation, sort of. not verbatim, but again, what are you doing? You are taking time to make music. Don't be like every other 18-year-old. Don't skip the pretty parts. Don't rush through them. There will be a time in life when you just were like, oh, I totally understand what Beth was saying now. This is so beautiful. Let's just sit here and enjoy and relax and whatever. But if you can do that now at 18, you know, even if you fake it, I don't care. But if you can do that now when you're 18, then it's going to give you a maturity in your playing that is beyond your years. And it's going to be more expressive, be more cantabile. You're going to impress the heck out of whomever you're auditioning for. If you compress your rhythms and rush through this, and they're going to be like, well, yeah, he's young. You don't want that. You want them to be wrapped up in the moment and like, oh, this is so gorgeous. Oh, listen to how he plays that. And he has a bell cover on too. So yeah, just do not rush it. Make sure that I would actually play this with the metronome and slow it down. Beat on. Make sure that you get that go all the way down to the D. Sometimes your larger intervals, you're going down to the wrong notes. Don't do that. Anything that's a large interval, like where it says cadence ad libitum, down there, you did not hit the D. You hit something else. It's D, da, dee, da, 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 da. And again, as this is a cadenza, you keep, and it's this stringendo, you can push and pull your tempo just a little bit more. You did okay. It's okay. When you did, you had these trills, dum, bagadadee, da, dum. When you did the grace notes here in the ritenuto, on the second bar, you need to push your air through those grace notes even more so that every single one of them comes out. And you can even slow them down so that every one of them speaks. Because you kind of like did something really fast and sloppy. You can't be fast and sloppy. Absolutely not. Yeah, you want those all to speak. Okay, when you did your trill into L, you trilled to the wrong note. Didn't we have this huge discussion about this last time? All right, let me hear you trill.
Okay.
You're going up a whole step. It's supposed to ba, and you're going ba. F to G. Let's hear F to G. That's what you're supposed to do. You're going F to G sharp. Yeah, you're doing partials, which is it's kind of like, for some reason it's easier to hit higher than a G, but you can't do that. You have to go bum and make sure that you're only trilling to a G and not to a G sharp, not to any other note. It has to just be a G. Let's hear it again. Do the intro to it. Now play it in time. I'm still not hearing your G, your da. Establish a note first. Except for then I just held it too long. So keep it in time. Okay, now you're holding it too long. Sorting. Do it again. 1, 2, ready. Okay, and don't you skipped one beat. But don't hold your F so long at the beginning. Okay? You know what I mean? Because you're kind of like, it's nice and flat. Your trills, you can start your trill right away. And it just gets faster throughout.
Oh.
Okay, but what you're doing is you're hanging on that F for a long time before you do it. And we already talked about how that trill starts at the very, very beginning of, this should be here. That trill sign should be there at the beginning of the F. And that just, it's a printing error. It's just, sometimes it's like there's not enough room, perhaps in the score, for it to bump over there. Sometimes it's just that they miss it. Sometimes it's that they're just not thinking. I mean, it's like there's all kinds of things that can go wrong when you're trying to produce a lot of music.
Yeah.
So, but your trill sign should be starting at the beginning of that. So, and we did this last time. 1, 2, 3, ding-a-dum. Nope. So, da-dum, and we want to hear those notes too, because you're kind of like slopping through those. But I think you're so excited that you get to trill that you're like, woohoo! I'm gonna trill and it's gonna be great. But then it's okay. But you also want to set it up for success. Ba-da-bum. Try it again. One, two. Keep it in time, and you hear how my trill started before yours did?
Yeah.
You're still waiting too long. 1, 2, and you hear how I come out of it? It's intentionally coming out of the trill, and you're treating it more like an accident. It's more like a car wreck. So, no car wrecks. Make sure that it's absolutely intentional. 1, 2, ready? And make sure that you hold it all the way until the ba-da-bum. 1, 2, Good, except for you're still ending your trill faster, right?
Yeah.
I'm continuing. So I don't take a breath there. I don't stop it. It's. Hear it? 1, 2, And you're actually stopping the note, and then you're going da, da, ya, da, dum. There's a hesitation. You can't have that hesitation there. 2, ready? That's better. 2, again.
Okay, that wasn't it.
1, 2, ready? Now listen again. 1, 2. 1, 2, ready? Listen to how fast I trill as well, and when it starts and when it slows down. 1, 2. Do it. 1, 2, ready? Okay, it still sounds unintentional and kind of like, I'm trilling my notes! And it sounds just a little bit over frantic. It sounds like getting into the trill and coming out of the trill is awkward, and you want to un-awkward it. If you've ever heard a more awkward sentence, that was just it. But you want very much to set up your trill. And it's one, you're trilling 1, 2, 3, da-ga-dum. 1, 2, ba-da-ba-yam, ba-ga-dum. And it's all in time. And then you have give this next section a lot of character. Now, from what I noticed is that, sorry, mask on. From P to the end, I've had like a billion shots. But anyway, it's unlikely that I have COVID. But sorry, for me. You don't have to keep your mask on because you're playing. But from P to the end really, really, really needs to be worked out. Okay, so starting at P, it started getting really awkward. It's like, I am not comfortable with this. And you have a page and a half of stuff that you don't like to play. All right. And especially at Q. Dun, da-ga-da-ding, da-ga-da-dun, da-ga-da-dun. Dun, da-ga-da-dun, 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 da-ga-da-dun. You slowed it way, way down. Okay? Do you think Elaine is going to slow it way, way down? No. So what's going to happen? It's going to be like, you're going to be sitting there in the class in front of everybody, and you're going to want to slow it down, and she's just going to plow forward ahead. And you're going to be like, oh crap, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Sounds terrible. So you have got to get Q up to speed, or you're going to just, I mean, she's a really good accompanist, but she's going to push you, because you're supposed to play this fast. And I'm going to tell her to push you as well. There's no reason why you can't play this up to tempo, other than that you haven't worked on it yet. Shame. So, from P to the end has to be, you have to live there, okay? It is not a happy place for you. And it has to be. It has to be. We'll work it out in just a second. The next thing that I noticed, letter T. You have to get down to the G. So, and you can slow that down into the fermata, but you have to get down to the G each time, okay? Because that's your steady note. D, D, da, B, da, da, D, da, 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 D. And remember the whole trick to a cadenza is start slow, speed it up and slow down. Start slow, speed it up and slow down. And as long as you can do that, you can fake a cadenza. And shame on me for telling you how to fake a cadenza, but I really, really hope that you spend about 17 hours on this a day for the next 3 days until you get it, so that by Monday, it's absolutely gorgeous. Also, in your fermata, this line here, you have an F. Now I know that you have not worked this part out at all yet. You've probably ran it a couple of times, but you haven't worked it out. But you have to make sure that your F is your steady note. It's kind of like when Bach writes melodies, a lot of times he'll have one note that stays steady and then go whatever. So, and you have to make, so you've got one line that moves and then the other line that stays steady. Right there, your F is your common note. You are not getting back up to your F. Make sure that you listen for the F, and and it just keeps going and going and going. And you can, like, every time you have a quarter note there, you can kind of like land on it. Nice, good sound. And, you know, slow, start slowly, speed up, go down again. This is kind of like your roller coaster, all the way to the end. So beam, you know, it's absolutely imperative that these quick notes make a lot of musical sense. And then this is the very, very ending. Da-dum, bum, 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 ba. Make sure that you hear your low B flat and that your B flat is nice and steady. Now I also know this is tempo poco minimoso. What does poco minimoso mean? Poco? What does it mean in Spanish?
Like a little bit?
Little, yes, exactly. So tempo is tempo. The meno sounds like the word minus, so a little bit less, a little more less, essentially. So you're going to just kind of like, your tempo is going to be a little bit slower here, which means that, first of all, you've got to hear that B flat, which is pretty easy because you're going from an F to a B flat, so it's just a fifth. But you've got to make sure that you breathe big enough before you get to U, so that not only, and that your face is loose enough and that you set your embouchure so that you're hitting that note right in the very middle. This is one of your lower notes, so you've got to make sure that it's big, full, piano, steady. What I heard was, and you like cut it off really fast because you're like, oh, that sounds terrible. So you stop playing it early. But it's only piano. And whenever you have a giant, big, beautiful note like that, it's going to ground everything else that's happening. Your orchestra is going, it's going all crazy there. And what you're doing is you're grounding the tonalities and the harmonics that are all going on above you. And it's just nice and steady, and it's nice and solid. It's not wavy, which is how you played it. Yeah, there's one other section where you had a low note, and it was questionable as well. So, here.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you get to your low B flats, A's and A flats, you know, you're kind of like, no, this is not my favorite range. Make it your favorite range. These low tones are super important for just establishing the tonality of everything that's happening above them. Okay? It's almost like you're a tuba player at that point. And you just think, steady horns, steady air, steady sound, nice and low. Set your embouchure for low embouchure. And you're gonna breathe big. Big relaxed air as you play. And it's going to, you know, it should actually slow down your heartbeat, but you know, make sure that you take a good breath, but right before you, and that air is slow, relaxed, and steady as can be. All right, let's go to your favorite spot, P.
Yes.
Which you don't like it all.